if questions come our way, we'll answer them. But this live stream, we're just going to be talking about education, specifically college.
Okay.
Anything under the sun about college. I was going to go ahead and start off by just talking about college experiences. You went to college as well, so maybe you could share insight on how was your time in college? Where did you go? Maybe maybe we could start off with application process. So what was going on in your head during the application process for college, and go from there.
Okay. I think the parents are joining mainly going to be maybe a few. This is very new.
Uh-huh.
UC Berkeley admitted students, and they are choosing between different schools.
Uh-huh.
So one of the schools, so Gerard, is between Harvey Mudd and the five liberal arts colleges versus UC Berkeley or UCLA. Yeah.
Mm.
So if you were given all this acceptance, which one would you choose?
So run down the different colleges available that they got into. It was
Harvey Mudd, yeah, the five of them, the
uh
Pomona, Harvey Mudd, CMC, Scripps, yeah.
okay.
The one near where you are, liberal arts colleges. So my already give them feedback in Chinese a few weeks ago. I think for California residents, and I would not pay the money for private school tuition. I think
Mm-hmm.
UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, where you are, and UCLA all give very good education. And the other one, UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, and UC Irvine. However, if the kids are on financial aid, parents save enough 521, they must spend it. I would, go take a look at it, which college environment do they prefer, small liberal arts versus
Yeah.
big public school. But anyway, since you spent 4 years at UCSD, tell us a little bit about pros and cons about big public schools like
Yeah.
UC San Diego.
Well, I think what you just said right there. You gave off three different categories when deciding of what college to go to.
Mm.
The first one you said was financial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Between public and private. So that's one of the major factors that parents and students consider when applying and accepting a college. So financial. The second one is academics, right? What are the
Mm-hmm.
different programs within the school that could help them get into a specific career path that they're
Mm-hmm.
intending to get into? Then the third one, like you said, is environment, that social life, that climate of the school. So
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, those are the three major factors when deciding what college to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't answer that for all students and parents, which one is the most important. That's different for every case.
Right.
Right. So to kind of dive down my own thought process when I was going into, college was I was applying into business. I wanted to go to a school of business. So uh, when I was applying, I applied to all the UCs, all the Cal States, and when I came down to it, there were two schools. I really wanted to go to San Diego. One for the social environment there. I love the weather. I love the environment, and for me, that was a check box for both. The two schools that I got accepted to was San Diego State and UC San Diego. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're going into business, actually, there's no real business school at UC San Diego. The one that does have a business school that's actually quite competitive is San Diego State. They have a great business program. Um, so it was between a BA at a business school or at a UC, or it's an actual business program at a state school. So when it came down to it, the reason why I picked UC San Diego was, um, I received some financial aid, and the funny thing about it is, the government provides more financial aid to UC schools rather than state schools.
That's
So
great.
when the financial aid breakdown came down, um, the UC was a better option for me financially. So that was the first kind of indicator that okay, I was kind of siding towards UC San Diego. The next one was the second factor for me was prestige. I was doing some research, reading some articles about the different colleges, and I could see that there's just this upward trend of people wanting to go to UC San Diego. and
Mhm.
it's building a bigger name not only locally within the state but also nationally. UC
Mhm.
San Diego was a much more known school.
Mhm.
So when people hear UC, right, UCLA, UC Berkeley, having that UC in your name, I already knew kind of gives you a leg up. So that was another
Mhm.
reason why I chose that school. Then uh, after that, for me, it's those were the major reasons why I was kind of leaning towards UC San Diego. Then the last thing that kind of pushed me over the edge was you got to go tour the place. You have to do a campus tour. You can't
Yes,
just
that's right.
look on YouTube and just decide over some videos that this is the school you want to go to. You got to get a feel for it. Go
That's right.
to their dining halls. Go eat lunch. If you have a friend that goes there, let's say they graduated a year or two before you, go to a class with them. You know,
That's right.
my brother, he went to UC Riverside, so I remember that. Um, before I was applying for college, he took me to one of his lecture halls, and I decided, you know what, I don't want to go to UC Riverside, so that gave me the green light. Let's not apply here. So, you really need to go see the school. So what I'll tell you is, if you don't have the budget to, um, you know, because you need to book hotels, you need to go traveling.
Yeah,
Your
expensive.
parents, yep, your parents need to take time out of work to go ahead and check out all these schools. So if you don't have the money to go see schools before you have to apply, then YouTube is enough. You could look at all these videos of all the different schools, and decide, make a list of 10 schools that you want to apply for. What I did
Mhm.
was after that, and I live in California, so I was able to visit, even before I applied. But where I really focused in on was after I applied and I seen the list of colleges I got accepted to. That's when I went ahead and visited the colleges. After I seen, okay, these are the 4 or 5 colleges I got accepted to. Then I did a little tour around California to see which one was my best option.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. So I'm actually, already shared in Mandarin. I tell, parents, if you allow the kids to apply for out of state and private and they got into it, allow them to attend.
Mm,
Okay. At least allow them to check it out.
mm,
And I would not myself, I wouldn't influence the kids. Say, oh my gosh, UC is much cheaper than Harvey Mudd. For sure, you choose UC Berkeley, UCLA, right?
right.
You allow them to apply, so they have every single right to go. At first, if you don't want them to attend, you should not allow them to apply. That's always my theory. Now they're in, and I believe that they need to go check it out, and because they're so different, especially the Berkeley and Southern Cal, is very different. Okay, Berkeley is one of the, I'm here right now. One of the towns look like New England. A lot of trees, a lot of hills,
Yep.
and
Weather and climate
yeah,
matters.
huh?
Weather and climate definitely matters. If you want it gloomy, do you like it sunny? It all
E-
matters.
ex- exactly, exactly. A little bit of chill, and it's not as warm, lukewarm as San Diego.
Hmm.
And in the winter, it rains a little bit more. And so if you come into Berkeley, it's completely different from other UC campuses. It's very different from Stanford. Even from the South Bay, you feel like, oh, they have a lot of palm trees and stuff. Berkeley is more like New England. There are a lot of trees, a lot of hills,
Uh-huh.
and it's extremely diverse.
Mm.
Like you go into the restaurant, you pretty much can see African American, Latino, the Asians, the Caucasians. I think Caucasian maybe hosts 20-30%. Extremely, extremely diverse.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and also there's some, homeless people as well. So I feel the kids, they need to come here, and they are coming here. Hopefully they all can come here if possible this Saturday, and then they can feel it, like when being in school, is this too big, too chaotic, too many boba shops. There's a lot of
Uh-huh.
Asian restaurants, right? And is safety a concern? On YouTube, there's a lot of talk about, safety at Berkeley and Oakland
Mm-hmm.
area. And Berkeley is it's far from Oakland, but it's kind of connected the same county, so gets also the blame and the quote unquote reputation for being not safe.
Mm.
I feel the kids need to come and really experience why they're on campus, at least for a day.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you agree with me, right? They should travel.
No, definitely travel. And
Mm,
one thing I would add is maybe, um, when you're there, college students are friendly. Most of them are nice. You might get
yes.
a couple apples that are not nice, but when you're there touring, go ahead and you could go up and approach maybe a couple students and ask them their own opinions about the school, how they've liked it, and
Hmm.
they'll be more than happy to answer the question. But
Yeah.
I caution you with that. You might ask the wrong one and they might scare you. So maybe ask a couple, ask a few, so you get a good selection of different opinions on the school.
Yes. So that's the main thing about a big environment. And a lot of parents and a lot of students, they care about their majors.
Hmm.
Okay. See, if I apply to for computer science, I didn't get in, people gonna ask, okay, whether I will be able to declare CS major even at
Yeah.
UCSD or UC Berkeley. That's a big thing. What do you think if you're not able to get the major you want?
Oh,
Would you
that's a
take
whole
advantage of the system?
that's a
Mhm.
whole nother topic. Actually, before I get into that, Dan, do you mind trying to turn off your video then turning it on? It's because you're frozen right now on my screen.
Okay, sorry.
Let's
Yeah.
try that.
Oh,
There we
better.
go. Now we're live. Okay, now we're good. Now everyone can see. Okay, cool. So major is a big thing. So that's a whole strategy in it itself, right? So choosing what school to go to is a strategy. Then
That's right.
once you get into the school, it's a whole nother ball game, right? It's because yes, you're all there with different peer groups and everything like that, but those are your competition as well. You guys are
Mhm.
all applying to the same companies after the fact, right? So
Right.
how do you have an edge against, right? If Dan Pan and Gerard Basic are both computer science majors, we're the same class, and we both want to work at Facebook. Who are they gonna
You don't
choose?
want to work at Facebook. Okay, sorry. Just laid off 4,000 people yesterday.
We're on their live stream right now, so they might hear you.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
But it you need strategy. So what I'll tell you is, you kind of have to, I would say, is make some good friends. Is because you could ask people ahead of you and hear their opinions. Is because you won't find the answer on online. You could check on Reddit, but everyone's gonna have their own. Someone might have not gotten in, and they're all butthurt, and they're all spewing it out online, like don't go there, don't go there. But strategize. For example, when I got accepted, I into UC San Diego, I wasn't international business. I was political science. Political
Okay.
science. Then I took on international business with a minor in accounting. Then I took off accounting because I decided I didn't want to do accounting anymore. So you don't ever need to have a straight path, but you kind of have to know early on where you want to go and do enough research. Do due diligence. If you don't do due diligence, you, you're gonna get lost with the rest of the group. So it sounds stressful, right? Trying to have to strategize against others, but you know, the biggest thing is if you're overthinking all of that, then you're not focusing on your grades, then your grades start to go like this. Then that's your biggest problem. How can you even compete with them if your grades are not staying up? So you kind of have to juggle a little bit, and that's the thing about college. It's not all given to you like high school. Everything's not given to you in a silver platter. So it depends on the major. It depends on what major it is, what school, who has the best programs, right? If the major is impacted, but you're a CS major and it's impacted, you might have some difficulty getting accepted into that major. And even if you're, let's say, you're just gonna go, let's say you don't have a major. What's it called when you don't have a major, Dan? What's the what's the name of it when you're undeclared?
Undeclared.
Undeclared, yes. Undeclared. So you could be undeclared for the first year, right? But
Yes.
there's a risk. You might be taking all these engineering, Calc A, Calc BC, blah 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 blah. Then right when you try to apply to get into the major, they deny you. So what are you gonna do now, right? So you always have to have a backup plan. For me personally, I always have 3, 4 backup plans just in case the first one doesn't go through. But don't have, uh, you know, don't, let's say this is your first plan. Don't make sure that your other plans level up to the same amount of let's say you don't really enjoy that backup plan, but you have it. Then why'd you pick that as a backup plan? Be happy with the backup plans that you set up. So sounds stressful, but you just gotta take day by day. Breathe in between. Then you'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah. So what you're saying that a lot of kids change majors, right, Gerard?
Definitely.
Yeah.
All the time.
Definitely.
All the time.
All the time. I try. Yeah, go ahead.
I've had third and fourth year friends of mine that they're like, yeah, so I just actually changed my major. Then I was a first year, and I'm like, you just changed your major and you're about to graduate? What are you talking about?
That's right. We had a parent sharing. Actually, I helped the kid negotiate a very top salary in a unicorn company, and came in with into USC with English major. I think English major, and then changed to linguistics. Are they a little bit different? Okay. And then the third major is computer science. And the third year, and she started computer science major and graduated and got a top compensation. Now working in San Francisco. So the mom was helping us share in San Diego, and a lot of parents like English major to computer science. They don't understand that.
Right.
Yeah, but I always tell the parents and the students, if your kids have very good foundation, in terms your kids are able to learn, the students are able to learn, and able to work with others, able to lead, actually they're all going to be fine, and no matter what major. Do you agree with me, Gerard?
You actually opened up my mind with that, actually. So let's say you're going to Berkeley, right? And you have a CS major, right? Because you're looking to become a software engineer, right? Well, actually, nowadays, they don't just hire computer science majors for those positions, right? There's other majors. Data science is a new major at UC San Diego. There's human informatics. There's a few. There's 5 other ones that are not computer science that you could apply for. Then how you could supplement that is you could go ahead and do boot camps, coding boot camps, where you've done some of Python or Java or whatever code, depending on the company you're applying for. So technically, you don't need to be a CS major to apply as a software engineer.
Absolutely.
Right.
I tell them, and nobody believing me. I mean, somebody probably. Very hard for the parents. I think kids may be a little bit open-minded. And we have, I used to work, at Fortune 500 company, Qualcomm, right? Look at myself. I had an undergraduate English major.
Exactly.
Right. For a master, I got into Michigan for political science. Yeah. Okay, we're buddies, Gerard, and different generation. And then I transferred to Cornell with economics, right, with a master in consumer economics. And then I came to Qualcomm, worked in product management. By the end of my, last 10 years there, I worked there 20 years. I was working in software engineering and leading big projects.
From English to product management. It's crazy.
No, from English to product management, to project management, to engineering management. Literally. Yeah. And so when I was I was sitting there leading all the meetings and talking about, how you solve this issue, that issue. Yeah. Yes, I never coded. However, I have a great memory. I understand the issue in terms of function. I understand the issue in terms of performance. So I understand the project risk plan. We need to build software. Which one is the key risk? Because I worked there long enough. I'm a fast learner. So a lot of my coworkers were really, really, really surprised when they found out I only had an English major.
No, exactly. Exactly. That's why I wish someone told me that sooner. So that's why it's very important to kind of, as a parent, get into groups like this where they're giving you some information, right? I remember when I was applying, I got into Irvine, I got into San Diego, but Berkeley and LA, I was waitlisted. Okay. It's because I put a very impacted major, School of Business.
Yes.
I should have just put Asian studies or, just some simple thing. Then do I really need School of Business? No, you just want to have that UCLA on your resume.
That's right. We are the same, exactly. Right? So, San Diego, SDSU has a better business school than UCSD.
Exactly.
and UCSD has a bigger name. So I tell the parents the school name is most important.
Mhm.
And once you get in, you can always figure out to study what you want.
Right.
And for sure, Berkeley this year, computer science and along other total of 12, it called high demand majors are getting more difficult.
Mhm.
Okay. That means, before if you get into Berkeley, letters and science, everybody is undecided. Everybody can go grab computer science. Everybody can go swamp study economics. But this year they made a little bit of challenge. But that's still okay first. If you go and trying to grab computer science, you still have a chance. The chance is low, but you still can give a try
Mhm.
because now Berkeley requires the holistic review, and the kids and the parents are very concerned if they don't pass their review. So what? If you don't get computer science degree, you are able to learn the fundamentals of computer science from the top Berkeley professors.
Right.
The way they teach computer science are awesome. Okay.
Right.
And you can try to get it as a minor or doing data science as a minor. And then when you apply for Google and Facebook job, you can go to the boot camp or practice online. So long as you get an interview, pass the interview, talk well, you still get the job. You can get a job as a math major, physics major, and maybe even as an English major, right? I can do English as a major and
Mhm.
data science as a minor, right?
Exactly. I think that's even smarter. It's because if you're doing straight up computer science, the classes are difficult, very difficult. So you might be so in the books, you might not spend enough time until you graduate to network, do your networking, and build your resume and build your work experience. So let's say you get a BA, something more simpler. Now you're giving yourself time to maybe focus on the networking side. Is because just from paper, Dan, you had an English major. They won't. It took time to gain their respect out of after doing work for them and showing that you could, move, your team around, and that wasn't because of what major you were. So
Exactly.
if you could get an internship into one of these top companies early, that's your best bet.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of wrap up our second topic of choosing majors, right?
Mhm.
First, you really need to like the school. You choose the schools. Yeah. Then if you can get your desired major, I mean, if you think you're a computer science major after you study, you may not like it, right?
Right.
So we just tell you more than 50%. I mean, Gerard, you can Google it or chat GPT and you find out high percentage of the students undergraduate change their majors. You change at least two times,
Yeah.
right? I'm sitting in Berkeley co-op, right? So my kids are at Berkeley, they're attending co-op. They live in there, 70 kids from all over the world. And I ask a lot of them, did you change your major twice, three times, right?
Oh, I forgot
So
to tell you. You just made me remember. I was like, how many times did I change it? I actually changed it. So I was originally political science. Then
that's right.
before I even showed up on campus, I switched to chemistry. It's because,
Yeah.
I come with a family of, they're in the medical field. So I'm like, shoot, I think I need to do medical field. I'm young. So I'm like, okay, chemistry, because I'll do pre-med. That's what I was thinking. Then right when I got on campus, then I took my first Chem 1 class. I was like, oof, okay, let me go back to political science. Then after political science, I finally switched last to international business. So it was 3 times before I finally stuck with one.
So how many years did you take to graduate? It was changing the three times.
3 years.
See?
Yep.
3 years. You
Uh-huh.
have a BA from UCSD.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Okay. So before we get internship, talk to us about AP credits. Like how many
Okay.
are you able to use it?
Right. So, well, it depends on the major, but your basic things like English and or language arts for high school, language arts and math and science, right? Those are three. Well, let's take off science because like mine for a BA, science is not required. So we'll stick with two: language arts and math. No matter what, those are two requirements for any university. They want to see, those are just uh, basic aptitude tests that they ask you. There's going to be a math placement test and a English placement test,
Mhm.
right? So no matter what major you are, those are the most important: English language and math. So if you could get any AP test credit, those are the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the things with language arts is there's two AP language arts classes. Your 11th and 12th grade. So you have AP composition and AP language.
Mm-hmm.
So those two classes, they go hand in hand. So if you get a 3, 4, or 5 on the AP test for either or, it'll count towards credit, and you already
Mm-hmm.
passed the for at least for UC San Diego. San Diego, how it worked is there's two basic math and language arts classes that you need to take. You could either test out of it, or
Mm-hmm.
if you have AP tests, you automatically push forward.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the most two important. You don't have to take both Lang and Comp, AP Lang and Comp. If you pass one, you don't have to take the other.
Mm-hmm.
So a strategy that you might have as for your students is, let's say they have a lot of AP testing they're gonna do, AP Comp and AP Calc 8, right? They take their junior year. Let's say they spent so much time studying for both, but they didn't do enough time on math, but they passed
Mm-hmm.
the language arts one.
Mm-hmm.
So going into their senior year, they have one AP credit. They have
Mm-hmm.
AP language arts. So they're good there. So for your senior year, you don't need to go ahead and take the AP Lang test again.
Mm-hmm.
You could just take and
It's
focus
okay.
your time on the math one.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna take time for both. So might as well, if you already passed one, your senior year just focus on one. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
strategy tip that you could follow.
So did you remember how many credits you are able to swamp coming from? I mean, each school offering
Oof.
different APs,
Yeah.
right? How many AP did you take in your school?
I took a lot, but I just didn't take the test. Is because I knew I wasn't gonna do science, so I didn't take the
Got
biology.
it.
So I got an A in AP biology, AP chemistry, but I didn't take the test for that.
Got it. So you're only able to swamp once you pass the AP
Yeah.
test, right?
Yeah, so I really just used those AP classes for the credit, the GPA boost.
Got it.
Because
Got it. GPA boost. That's right.
when I got out of my cumulative was like a 4.667 out of high school.
Oh
So
my gosh. You have a 4.6 or 7.
yeah,
Wow.
that it's because there was a lot of at the time a lot of I was smart like my senior year. At my school we had a policy is that in your senior year, because there's 6 classes you could take every year, right? Or
Mhm.
every semester. You could do late arrival or early dismissal. So you could take
That's
away
right.
your first period or your sixth period. So now
Mhm.
if you don't have a sixth period, you're dividing your GPA by only 5 classes, not 6.
Ah,
So
okay.
you got to fill those. I was in ASB. I was in student body, so that's already 1 class. So the other 4 were 4 APs. So those
Mhm.
4 APs, I took the easiest APs you could find, because I knew I wasn't gonna test anymore. So I just found the easiest ones. I asked my peers above me that were graduating. It's like, which teacher doesn't give a lot of homework? So like that's what I did. Like, you gotta find the ways because you gotta enjoy your time there as well.
That's right. You're very smart. So to wrap up is to um eh, take. I think first thing we need to understand, if you take AP and you take AP exam, and it's 3 or above, right, to exchange for credits, right? 3 or
Depends.
above.
Ivy League might be getting a 4. I'm not too sure, but there is a website that you could check all this information.
Exactly. Each school. That's right. Yeah. So some credits can be traded, and also depending on major. So if you take a lot of AP science class and you become a STEM major, those AP exam, those credits will be used for.
Yeah.
But even though you didn't exchange a lot, you still graduate from UCSD within 3 years.
Right.
Oh my gosh, hats off to you. My husband is alumni of UCSD and took him 5 years.
I mean, what I'll tell you is, not to be
computer engineering.
That's engineering. See, I was just a BA.
That's right.
For me, I'm telling you, it's a lot of these top prestige schools, even Harvard. I had friends that have gone to Harvard, and they tell me is they don't want you to fail. They don't want to see C's on your transcript. They want to help you get B's and A's, is because that helps their bottom line. And when they average all their students and when they sell their school, it's
Yeah.
better that there's more graduating students than people dropping out.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I'm telling you, some classes you didn't even need to go and study. You could just show up to the test and get an A or B.
Yeah.
And I don't like to
Okay.
say that and downgrade my degree, but
Yeah.
you could if you didn't really care about your cumulative GPA, you
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so those can be exchanged, and the
Mhm.
students can graduate early. I'm not advertising everybody like you
Yeah,
graduating within 3 years, but it's I know UCSD students, computer science even graduate within 2 years.
yeah.
I don't know how he did it, but he did it.
It
He was gonna teach some classes for us, you
it
know?
depends on it depends. Like for me, if I'm being truthful, is when will you ever be in college again? So
Hmm.
why rush it, right?
That's right.
So if financial is not a concern for you, then don't
That's
rush
right.
it. Take your time and join the right orgs where you make long lasting lifetime friends. Then
That's
take your
right.
time. Why do you need to rush and try to enter the work field already? If you're on a visa, they'll give you a visa for 4 years. It's not like they're gonna cut your visa down. So
That's right.
take your time if you have the ability to, because that's one of my regrets as well.
Okay, so you rushed yourself.
Well, it's not one of my regrets because there's still masters and stuff like that. But if I could have taken my time, I feel like COVID really threw me in a spin. Is
That's
because
right.
I was already building my connections up my first year.
Yeah,
Then going back home was a 360, right?
it's hard. Yes.
It's hard. Then going back and readjusting to that life is difficult. And I was already on a mindset, during COVID of already graduating. So once I got back to campus, I didn't really care about, building a network within the school. Is because my
That's
head
right.
was already outside of the school.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So going back, and if the parents and students are choosing schools, foundations, you really gonna like it. Okay, you need making sure your student likes it, and like what they're studying. Okay, and they are allowed to change majors a few times, and if they have very good AP track record, they can exchange. So if you don't take the GED general education requirements, you can use the time to take some interesting classes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And UCSD and also, UC Berkeley offer, especially UC Berkeley, some classes are very interesting by like astronomy,
Yeah,
by Nobel
all the
Nobel winner.
electives, and how they
Mhm.
structure. It's very beautiful how they structure. Most of the all the universities in America do it, where they give you, part of your requirements are some sort of elective. So
Yes,
and that's your taste testing. When are you ever gonna learn about oceanography?
that's
uh,
right.
I went to the big Scripps is a very known research center, so
Mhm.
I wanted to learn from some professors there.
Mhm.
So, not to mention, it was some of my easiest classes. But it's
That's right.
just very interesting what they're learning about. The topography of the soil and the receding, the rising sea levels. That's what they are researching. So,
Yeah.
most of our network, that's not what they're looking to get into. But it's
Mhm.
interesting to know.
Yes, yes, yeah. So I went to Cornell for graduate school,
Hmm.
but a lot of undergraduates, of course, they need to be above 21 or taking wine tasting.
Oh, cool.
So it's still the hottest class on the campus at Cornell, wine tasting. Yeah.
That's
So
very
very
cool.
good. Okay, so I think we're gonna just spend a few more minutes. Then I know you need to go,
Uh,
Gerard. Maybe we can resume next week. So next question is about internship,
yeah.
and what's the value of getting an internship in high school and in college?
Mhm.
What's the value of getting an internship in high school? What's the value of getting internship in college? Can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You manage, so we need to kind of do a little bit of self-advertising, right? So we are Haddee Education. I'm the founder. Gerard is my partner. Gerard leads all the internship
Mhm.
program, and you are very experienced with internship program. Yeah, so here you go.
Yeah, I
Gerard.
mean, really, you really need to build up experience no matter what stage of your education career you're in, wherever you are in the timeline in your education. Internships are important. It's because they give you that portfolio, that experience that you need, that employers are looking for.
Mhm.
right? When they ask you a question when you're interviewing is more behavioral. Is when have you ever shown integrity in your work? And then
Good question.
yeah, then you're gonna be like, yeah, actually, there's one work experience that I could give you. When I was working with Haddee Education over the summer, we had this so and so project, and I was working with this team, and there was some sort of conflict, yada yada yada, and I was able to resolve the situation because I did this, right? So it's just name dropping, right? That's really
Mhm.
it, and at least adding internships just give you those work experiences that you could explain when you're talking to employers.
Mhm.
So, um, in general, to answer your question, it's important to have internships. To dive into a little bit more deeper of when should you get an internship, it depends on what your purpose. If you're in high school, you want to be unique against all these other high schoolers applying for college, right? So having internships on there is important because I'll show you that you have an edge against all these, um, applicants. So from the high school perspective, it's good to get internships to get into college. Okay. Now for all the college students out there, all the high school internship experience you had, drop that in the trash can because that's not what the employers want to hear. They don't want to hear what you're doing in high school. So it's a big refresh. So always remember it's a big refresh out of high school. I don't care what accomplishments you had. You could have been the president, you could have started your own club, you could have been the valedictorian at your school. Well, you're not the valedictorian anymore at the college. So you need to go ahead and refresh and, get back to the ground. So again, it's important to get internships while you're in college is because now you're building your actual network for your career.
Mhm.
So the most important ones is your summer of your freshman to sophomore year, and from your sophomore to junior year. Okay, so let's say the summer of your sophomore year. That's the first one you're gonna get. That one, it's very difficult to get a big company to give you an internship. So that's a great time to get in some smaller businesses and get an internship with them. So that's my first piece of advice is get an internship right away your sophomore year summer. Then your junior year, aim high. Try to get those big companies that you want. Is because after your junior year or junior year to your senior year, that's when it's important. Sorry, that's what I meant. So from your freshman to sophomore year and sophomore to junior year, you could get some medium-sized small businesses internships. But from your junior year to your senior year, that's when you really need a good internship if you're looking to have a job offer before you graduate.
Mm. Good return offer.
Yeah, a return offer exactly. But
Return offer.
do they give that to everyone, Dan? What's the
No,
percentage?
no. We need to Google what's the percentage. No, no,
Yeah,
it's very low this year.
I'm
Very low.
saying it's very probably a percent of all the there's a lot of
Mhm.
competition out there. So
Yeah.
that should be your mindset, but don't get discouraged if you're not one of those people,
Mhm.
right? But that's what you
Okay.
should be aiming for. If you don't know that already, then you're already behind the ball game.
That's right. Yeah. So let me kind of summarize what you just said for the high school internship. Add a little bit. Yes, it's really for college, but we always emphasize you don't do things just for resume, just for college. Internship is a good environment, good project for you to work with others, and you're
Definitely.
gonna have an employer, you're gonna have a boss like Gerard in our company. Okay, you're gonna have a colleagues, right? Other interns, and you're gonna maybe have a lead that from Washington University MBA, may have a CMU undergraduate student working with you. So with all said, this experience internship for undergrad for high school is tests your capability of whether you're going to get listen to others, whether you're
Mm.
going to be accountable, whether you're going to be responsible, whether you can communicate, whether you can work with others. So college is not looking for just that that labeling, right? Some kids,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I mean overseas sometimes they use money to buy experience, right? That's what not we are suggesting is that you can always put a label next to your resume, but it comes to your essays or come to, the interviewer when, you're being asked, you need to really elaborate. You really need
Experiences.
to experience it, to write about it, to talk about it, to learn
Exactly.
about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why the value of high school internship, because US colleges are not looking for the project name. They're looking for personality reflected from your experience, from your writing.
Right.
They're looking for people. They're looking for people like you, Gerard,
Mm.
that able to communicate, very savvy, able to help people, right?
Right. No, definitely. I think the
Yeah.
two things that you made me remember is one of them being I think one of the purposes of our internship program that you brought me on and why I'm passionate to work in this setting is um, there's a lot of internship programs out there, right? But our main purpose that we focus on is when we see your resume coming through our pipeline, we want to make sure that we help you fill those gaps. All the gaps that you have that employers are going to try to spot out, we're looking to finish that package for you so that you have everything that you need to get that job that you're dreaming of, right?
Mhm.
And the perspective that you said about your Michigan State students master is going to be the one heading it up, right?
Mhm.
Networking already as a high schooler, who gets to
Mhm.
do that, right? From 6 years from now, that first internship that you had, let's say that master student that you're talking about is a hiring manager at so and so company, then they
Mhm.
remember your name because they worked with you in Haddie,
Mhm.
right? You're already building your network, and that's very important. Why do you have to wait till college? You could start it in high school.
Yeah, that's true. And then talk about college internship. Okay, we have a few minutes. Yes, it's really a fact. It's very, very, very difficult to get internship as a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
like the first year, right? Most of them are not getting internship, usually starting the sophomore, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of campus recruiting are even not targeting for
Uh-huh.
freshmen, right? However, when you get your first offer, no matter when, they're gonna ask you, two references of employers.
Mm-hmm.
So my younger son's like, okay, whom I should put, right? So I said, well, you work for your high school teacher. You literally work for your high school teacher, and that
Mm-hmm.
can be one of the
Mm-hmm.
references. So even though your internship in high school, like Gerard said, okay, we're gonna start over again, but really sometimes like are tossed in the trash can, you still sometimes it's worthwhile because
Uh-huh.
then they ask me, I'm their employee. I have multiple interns in college getting big job like Apple this summer asked me for, to put my name as the employer
Mm-hmm.
because they worked for me during high school, worked for
No,
our
definitely,
company.
definitely.
Right,
It's
Gerard?
just how you package it. I'm just saying that
Exactly.
if you package it, it's like, oh, this is what I did in high school. Then that's not how you're supposed to package it. It's just how you
Exactly.
word it to the employer, right? That's what I really meant. And um, that it just I feel like our internship program's unique. We're not just giving you guys tasks to do. We're really trying to help you guys evolve and be competitive in the market, right? I
Mhm.
just got off a meeting with a potential internship college student. Annie was joining in, and we talked about what we're going to be doing in the internship program. But really, what the first call was about, I was reviewing her resume and giving her some advice. I asked her what year are you in Berkeley?
Mhm.
Okay, where do you want to go? Do you have any special dream jobs that you have? Um,
Mhm.
then I gave her advice. I think that this is where you're some gaps of your thing that you should be working on outside of Haddie. I think Haddie
Mhm.
will help you on this perspective, but you have
Mhm.
also some gaps here, and you
Mhm.
also need to work on that. So you're not just
Mhm.
getting help in adding something to your resume. You're really
Mhm.
getting mentorship and career advice throughout the
Yes.
internship program.
Yes, yes, that's true. Yeah, maybe in the future when we do live stream, we can talk about how help how we help kids with resume.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a student at UC Berkeley EECS,
Mm-hmm.
and early part of this year was not getting any interviews,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he came to me. I helped him correct the resume. I mainly emphasize not only the project descriptions because no other companies don't really know the details about your projects, but the skills, the language you use. So we can get into those details. Maybe one of the days, those days we have time, we can sit down, talk about critique a resume and help students improve on their resume. What do you think?
No, definitely, that's a good idea. I mean, the purpose of this call, Dan, is just to have this. If we could do this weekly, is just share experiences. Even if we don't have viewers, someone's gonna go ahead when they're lying down in bed, see that pre-recorded video that they saw of live streaming, and they're gonna watch it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. We can also talk about ACT, SAT,
Everything.
all kinds of topics. So first, Mary, are there any questions coming in on the live streaming?
So we can get into those details. At the moment,
there's none.
There's no question.
But we had 10 viewers on. It looks like on my end.
Yeah, we have actually 11
11
viewers now.
Well, 11 viewers, but no questions.
Yeah.
Before we leave, is there any questions that anyone has? I see Sherry's son. Sherry's son is on on the live stream.
Yeah. Any questions from the floor? Yeah, we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes because Gerard needs to go.
No, I'm good on time. No rush. I rescheduled for. It was actually earlier. I rescheduled it for earlier. So.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Any questions from the floor? Yeah.
And because after this call, Dan, there's actually another. I want to try doing the live stream again, but a different way. I want to see without doing it from Zoom if we could do it, just if we're both as co-hosts on the live stream and give that a try.
Okay. Yeah, let's give it a try. Okay, yeah. So here you go. A lot of parents may know about me, may heard my talk in Chinese and English. We have Gerard, and he's my partner. He managed all the internship for Haddee. And a recent graduate from UC Berkeley business degree. So I don't know whether the parents are interested in UCSD. I haven't really posted this live stream at UCSD parents group, but can you talk a little bit about the colleges, like 6, 7, whatever number of colleges? It's very confusing.
Oh, well, actually, I just saw an email the other day that it's going to be an 8th college as well. So they keep adding. So I believe other universities have the same sort of system, but basically we're now an 8 college system. So basically there's 8 different neighborhoods per se on campus with it's just branding, really. But first, there's different reasons why they have it. First of all, being branding is if it's just a big university, it gets, as a student, you may feel like a small fish in a big fishbowl, right? So the reason why they do that, that's one of the advantages, is you have your own tight-knit community within the university. So that's the first reason why they do that college system. The second reason is, well, to start off with, all the colleges have the same majors. You could be a computer science major in 6 College, and you could be a computer science major in Warren College. So it doesn't really matter what college you're in. How they do it at UCSD is each college has a different foundations that they follow. So I went to Warren College at UC San Diego. So that Warren actually is from Earl Warren. He was the Chief Justice of California Supreme Court. And, because he was, that's kind of political science. He's all about, ethics and the rule of law. So they had a main focus on, I think you had to take requirements in like philosophy or something, right? Mm-hmm. Then Revelle College, he was a scientist or something like that. And some of their requirements is you have to take, some of the things that Revelle believed in, right? Mm-hmm. Eleanor Roosevelt College, it's all about diversity and equality, so it's all about accepting international communities, and those are some of the classes that you need to take. So there's a little bit of branding involved with that, so that you could feel like you're part of a community. If you just named it off as first college, second college, third college, how can you really establish some sort of connection with your community? So that's why they do the college system. Do you have any questions for me, Dan, about any of the colleges?
Yeah, so each college has their own setting of the dorm, right?
Yes.
It's more like a zip code neighborhood, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, like I said, Eleanor Roosevelt College. How they called the different dorm halls was uh, Africa Hall, America Hall. I think it was like China Hall or something like that. It was each country had their own name hall,
Hmm.
right? Then where did I stay? Warren College. It was a bunch of other like court judges. Like I was in Goldberg Hall, which Goldberg was another court justice in the California system, I believe, or he worked with Warren College. So there's a
Hmm.
little bit of branding there, like I said. Um,
Hmm.
what other college? Every college has their own um, branding with it. Those are just the ones I lived in, so I could always remember why they did it like that. But I never knew that going into from high school to college. I was like, damn, they're smart. I was like, look at them. Like even the name of the college is tied to something in history. So
Hmm.
I thought that was super fascinating.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a good idea. So yeah, so Berkeley does not have the like the neighborhood community colleges,
Yeah,
but it's more about like functional major like division,
yeah.
right? So
Same thing
College of
like UCLA
Engineering,
is the same
right?
way. UCLA is the same
Mm.
way.
Yeah, UCLA same College of Arts and Science,
Yeah,
like L and S, right?
yeah.
So yeah, it's like many schools have more kind of so the arts and science colleges,
And
and then
mhm.
chemistry and architecture, right?
Exactly. And I feel like it depends on like going back to what major to pick.
Mm.
Depending on what major and career path you have, it depends on where you want to situate yourself, right? So
Mhm.
um, if there's because some of these top companies are headquartered in Silicon Valley or the
Mhm.
Bay Area, it's
Mhm.
probably better to go to Berkeley if you're trying to target one of those companies. If you're
Mhm.
from San Diego, it's not really a feeder school,
That's right.
right? So that's another
Yeah.
thing to consider when you're trying to pick a college.
Yeah. 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 That's right. Yeah, the weather's nicer for sure. In San Diego.
Oh, it looks like we
That's
got
no doubt.
a
Mhm.
question come our
Yeah.
way. Let me see.
Hmm. Oh, you can
Uh,
see it. Yeah, I can see it. Hmm.
Julie Ma said how to pick the following schools: UCLA sociology, UCB DS or dual degree with HKU for sociology, Vandy sociology but easy to change, and Northwestern journalism for California residents.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I messaged with mom a little bit earlier, and
Mhm.
I asked them to join. Yeah. So that's a in-state, I believe. The students in-state, out of state. Yeah, but doesn't really matter. Um, Northwestern journalism is very, very top,
Mm.
and number one in the country. And the Northwestern is a very nice campus, and the kids are really pampered. So if the heart is in journalism, that will help the kid student go into law school. I think in terms of college life, being pampered, access to abundant opportunities, Northwestern is a very good choice. However, if it's a private school, and if the student, I forgot whether the student in-state, I believe it's in-state, and it's a lot of money to pay versus UC Berkeley or
Yeah.
UCLA. And so
So
if go ahead.
yeah, back to the same thing. The three factors: financial,
Yeah, financially.
academic
Yeah,
opportunity, and career networking, and really where are they going to be happy? So environment matters.
yeah.
Um,
So, and also I want to make a comment. I come from the Qualcomm background, and Qualcomm hire a lot of attorneys, right? And a lot of attorneys do have engineering background.
mhm,
So they're patent attorneys, okay?
mhm,
And even corporate attorneys. So one thing is really the student need to think about it. Is the law school, what kind of law school? Do I want to be a superior, the court judge, right? Do I want to fight for justice, for civil case, for criminal case, like sociology, study for, crimes? And I actually, when I was in high school, I was applying for criminal psychology.
That's a
Interesting,
jump.
right?
That's a jump. You were probably watching too much Law and Order or something back then.
That's right. That's right. Criminal psychology. So with all I said, the student really need to sit down and meditate, think about it. Really, where the heart is. The heart is in STEM and become a patent lawyer working for big companies like a Qualcomm, or the heart is in social justice. Okay, become a judge, right, or become a class lawsuit attorney against to seek equality. That will depend on where she wants to go, and also I think at Berkeley they will be pampered as well by a lot of Asian restaurants. The weather is really good, and if at Berkeley they can access to data science and STEM classes, is still able to go to law school. So I think what kind of law in the future she tries to pursue, I think will set the foundation of where she wants to go. If she wants to go to Northwestern to do journalism, and the chance of going into the social justice journalism and that track will be much more easier. Anyway, Gerard, do you have any comments?
Yeah. I have a different perspective on it. I agree with you on all your points. The only thing I could add is, when I always ask like med students, I have a lot of friends that are getting in, they're pre-med and getting into medical school. When you ask them, or even nurses, so what department do you want to work in, or what type of physician do you want to be? Most of them won't know until they're in residency. They're gonna do their rounds, and then they're gonna figure out if they want to do derma, if they want to do cardiology, if they want to do trauma. You won't know until you're actually taste testing. So if the student already knows what they want to do, then those are great points to make. If the parent could go ahead and kind of spot on where they're going, then push your kid to where you think they would be best. The only thing that I would say in the student perspective is, I would go wherever you feel the most happiest. Is because as cliche as that sounds, is the more happy you are, the more open you are to opportunities. The reason why I bring that up is I took sociology classes in UC San Diego, and those are some of my admired professors. I love my sociology professors, and I didn't even know that. And when I have one-on-one meetings with them on office hours, they were willing to hey Gerard, if you're really looking to get into sociology or this grad program, I actually have a connection out there. I'd be willing to help. So if you want to, don't expect you're gonna go to Northwestern and they're gonna fly into these top journalism companies. Doesn't work that way. You need to network. So if they're happy, they're gonna network. That's what I mean. Is because you have to show your personality to these professors. And if the professors could create some sort of emotional bond with you, and you explain to them where you're coming from, what you want to do, they're going to be more willing to help you.
Yeah. I think it's a toss, really. So the student needs to go to both campuses. But, definitely. Northwestern's hard. Right now you can go, happy, hallelujah, right? Go there in February, January, December, right?
Yeah.
Will you be happy again, right? It's so cold, the weather.
Yeah, so take all those factors and go with your gut, which is hard to...
That's right.
But just wherever you're siding in, just go with it. But once you make the decision, you can't be guilty or look back. Just continue on, and all the opportunities will come.
Yeah. So I feel the student will be very happy if she can endure the cold weather in Northwestern. Okay, I think the only factor in the student mind as well, I believe she's adult over 18, will think about, oh my gosh, that's another $400K, right? So that factor needs to be talked about. And that student cannot take a guilty factor into Northwestern and spending parents $400K. Did you understand?
Yeah.
So now, especially when she's not happy in the middle of the winter, say, oh, why do I make that stupid decision? Wasting $400K. I would be perfectly happy at Berkeley. So that really need to be overcome if she decides to go to Northwestern. The money should not be an issue.
Definitely.
It's a huge difference for a whole family. And she can easily attain the same goal at Berkeley. Exactly. She may not be pampered in terms of nice dorm, maybe nice outings. The Harvard, Harvard, why is Harvard? Harvard is very difficult to get in. It's very easy to get out. All Harvard students are networking on weekends, go to outings,
Yeah, exactly.
So that could be a little bit, when she's here, she needs to be at peace. I'm at Berkeley. The future of the students, no matter where she goes, it's all going to be good.
Mhm.
Yeah. But you're talking about Northwestern. Yes, it's a really very good with journalism. But if the student decide to study engineering, we have student ED Northwestern and got into engineering, and Northwestern is very, very good business school as well. So it's all covered. So she doesn't have to study journalism,
Great
and she
point.
can minor somewhere out, right?
Great point. For me, if you don't know, because some of those private schools are very specific,
Yes,
it might scare you. Let's say if they switch their mind on what they want to do. No matter
exactly.
any UC you go to, it's so diverse that you could hop into any new career path if you change your mind. So a safe bet is UC.
That's right. So we kind of made the decision for the kid, right? You're in San Diego, I'm UC Berkeley. Let's go UC.
Yeah, it's just safe because I'm telling you from I wasn't too far along when I was deciding. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I also have this lastly, I want to finish up with a conversation about private school
okay.
and IB. I know IB is such a big thing. Every kid wants to go there because why it's big? Because the rejection rate is so high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people feel that, they got in. It's like, oh, prove them and they're special, they're good, or they are good. It is a proof, right? So acknowledge that. However, I felt by talking to my students and, forget about 30 years ago, where I was there, just talking about my students, I felt top private school, either in middle school, high school, or top Ivy League, I felt the kids have a lot of pressure because there are always a lot of really, really, really smart kids, and especially for for us California residents going over there, the weather is cold, price ticket is so high, and especially during this economy, not every single Ivy League student are getting nice jobs, right? So the pressure is high because it is very, very expensive.
I have one question for you, Dan, actually, with that. So for me, off the jump, not going to Ivy, I chose a public school. I have the misconception, perhaps, that the only reason why I would decide to go to an Ivy is because of networking. There's a better network, a more higher income network that I could tap in. As someone that's, entrepreneurial, maybe if I went to an Ivy, I could have tapped into higher income individuals that could invest in my company. So what's your take on that?
Very good question. It's all about yourself. You may have a slight higher possibility of meeting rich people, but the majority of the kids are going there are not like you, Gerard. They want a Goldman Sachs job.
Right.
They want a quant job. They want a Morgan Stanley job. And those I don't know whether your roommate is super rich that will help you. I'm not sure. Okay. They're open for grab, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it depends and the startup mentality is not very high among Ivy, because when they get out, they realize, the parents can afford, but now they need to be on their own feet, right? They need making 300K, 250K immediately. And sometimes can be a disappointment because their peak of their life is Ivy.
Yeah.
So they have to admit it. Now I'm in Cornell, I'm in Yale. Forget about Cornell. People don't think Cornell's Ivy. Forget about it, because they only look at Ivy as like 5 schools: the Harvard, the MIT, the Stanford, Yale, and Princeton. Okay, I have a different opinion. I think Cornell is a very good engineering school, but just think about it. That's their peak. Oh, I'm from Yale. What's after Yale?
Yeah.
So I want to pose that question. Just think about for the parents and students, like, whether you're in Ivy or not in Ivy or trying to go into Ivy, just think about that. Yeah, if you can get in, that's great. But you know, whether whether you will be happy economic wise, and also weather wise, also the competition wise, it's really you know, it's really varies differently, you know, per individual kind of need. Yeah,
there's a lot of pressure, I could feel like.
Yeah, I talk to Cornell students there because some seniors are not getting jobs. They're under a lot of pressure. I talk to Cornell parents. Okay, I'm very connected with Cornell community, and parents think it's very expensive because the kids getting in one major want to change, so they have to do a lot of credits to meet, and then maybe extend a little bit longer. And yeah, it's challenging because they don't give merit-based scholarship. So that's also another issue.
Are there any other questions? Julie said, "Thank you very much. Very helpful." We have a Kinley.
Thank you.
Kinley is on the call. Yeah. So if anyone else has any questions regarding anything college related, drop it down on the comments below, and we'll end the stream shortly.
Okay, that's great.
So Dan, I actually have a question for you while we wait if there's any other questions. So the reason why I want to have streams like this is I want to dive into, even though, you know, you went to college at a different time, it doesn't matter. Your same strategies and your same experiences transpired today too. So there may have been instances or experiences that you went through that people may take some advice from you going forward as they enter college or leave college. So you went from English to economics, right?
Political science.
Political science. So then you went to where did you do economics, or did you?
Then so Michigan undergraduate English. I got my degree from Zhejiang University. Okay, so I did my undergraduate in China. Right after I graduated, I came to Michigan at the Center for China Studies. So it's really similar for political science. My professor, Professor Huang Ya-shen, I think is one of the top political science professor pretty much in the country for study China and study Indian. Now he's at Sloan School of MIT.
So
yeah, so China lab and Indian lab.
When, you know, of course, every, you know, immigrant coming over here, you guys everyone has the same, you know, mindset. But what was your mindset, you know, going forward? Was it connected to your major, your career, or what was on your mind during this time when you were, you know, in the midst of college?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. For me, my first mindset is why I talk about, you know, financial situation all the time, because I'm only going to school that willing to give me a scholarship.
Okay.
Yeah, so Michigan offered half tuition off, 20,000 at that time. 30 years ago, believe it, Michigan was charging 20,000 out of state, and I got half tuition waiver, and as a really good scholarship. I still had to pay the other half. Not possible. My parents were making probably $10 to $15 or $20 a month as a professor in China back in '92. So they borrowed money, about $100 from 50 people, assembled $5,000, sent me here to pay half of the one semester's tuition. And then I got a lot of help. I want to thank my American host families. They're both not here anymore. The entire family for helping me out by providing me with free room and board. Yeah, I didn't stay long. I transferred to Cornell. I got a free ride. I finished there with a master's degree in economics.
Very cool.
So if you want to ask for one piece of advice, which I wrote on Chinese Instagram called 小红书, like a little red book. That's how it translated. I have one post, many posts. One of them showed me and my brother. We all benefited from having great relationship with our teacher. So he's a professor. Both of them were his investors for both startup. He has one edutech startup and one biotech. Nicola Pontin, MIT Media Lab founder, invest in both companies. Yeah. For me, Professor Ya Shenhuang helped me out not only giving me a merit-based scholarship at University of Michigan, also provide me a research opportunity during the summer, which helped me a lot. So yeah, and there are many, many, many instances I haven't really, shared yet about our relationship with our primary school teachers, with our high school teachers, with our college teachers, and last one's college teachers. Michael Zemet, who just passed away at age 90, our UK English teacher who taught me 4 years or 3 years in college and helped me interviewed with American consulate to obtain my student visa back in 92. So the people who helped us were all teachers. So my advice to every single student, and have a great relationship. Doesn't matter where you're in middle school, high school, college, graduate school, have a great relationship with your teacher. Just like you said, if you want to pursue sociology, you have a good networking there because your sociology professor is going to help you.
School, as long as you connect with the professors, one of them is going to have a network for you.
Yes, that's right. So a lot of parents, especially parents, ask us to design extracurricular in high school, and our foundations always do a good activity in school, either a club like your ASB. Next time, maybe we can talk about your ASB experience, and especially targeting the high school students, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's a whole nother experience. But if you're looking to build up great skill sets and you're in high school, join ASB. You'll learn a lot. But
exactly,
another question I had for you, the last one, Dan, is, when you're younger and you have all these different aspirations, that you have, there's a lot of pressure there, right? And especially if some of those aspirations are hindered by financial obligations, right? How did you deal with that emotionally, mentally? What kept you going? Because, you had a bill due by the end of the semester. How did you, you also had to do well in your studies. So how did you push through and, get through it?
Yeah, so when I was in Michigan, I worked as at ghost hours from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. at night, pretty much every single night, or if not every single night, 3, 4, 5 nights a day. It's hard. So I was working in the Michigan Student Union in the lab downstairs. So I can study, I can sleep. Cool. So that's because I need to make some I got my room and board taken care of, but I still have expenses buying books, right? Even having lunch with my friends, right? At Michigan, and having a cup of coffee. So yeah, so I dealt with it. I don't remember when you were young, like I just remember I have a lot of energy. And of course, at first, I was banking on Cornell giving me, I already got accepted at Cornell when I was in China. I told them I'm going to, go to Michigan first to prove myself. So in the beginning, I think early May, Cornell called me back saying that they're not able to offer me a TA or RA. So in the beginning, I was getting a TA. Then the next year I was getting a fellowship. And then I cried. I literally cried when I put down the phone, and my host dad was there, Ray. He just left last year, and he was very sad as well, and it was sad. So my host mom, Carol, was helping me apply for any scholarship from Unitarian Church, and that's very, very small. They were very, very sweet. They're very nice to me. But I remember, everybody has emotions. I literally cried. And I don't remember what next 2 weeks what happened. Then 2 weeks later, they called me and they told me that the student took the TA, decided to take a gap year to travel in Europe. So that spot was given to me.
So it all worked out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, if it didn't work out, I probably would end up going to China, going back. But that's fine. China was developing. Maybe I will end up completely different lifestyle, which would be fine. So all I'm trying to tell that you set to go into this road, this route. If this route does not, it's not for you, the other door will open. Right? Because tomorrow is unknown. Yes. Yeah. I also was a reject by Harvard, right? So my first reject was Harvard. And I was a kid, in China, getting my, I had very early days, Harvard reject me, and I cried as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, like any kid, you have emotions, right? But Harvard deal wasn't that a big deal, because if I don't go to Harvard, I got into other schools. But that May, back in 93, in Michigan, when I first got the Cornell phone call that they were not able to transfer me, and with a full ride, I literally cried, because I knew I would not able to continue at Michigan. Because even Michigan extend another 10,000, how could I get another 10,000
Mm.
to support the tuition?
Very,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think we haven't talked about it. Well, thanks for asking me for this question.
Of
Asking me
course.
this question.
Those are the ones that are the hardest that we all deal with, but it's very cool to hear someone's story and come out of it in success.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. We're all gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm. So
For sure.
all the optimism, I love it. I love to hear it.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing,
Good.
Dan.
Thank you, Gerard. Thank you.
So let's see if there's any questions. It looks like there's none. Let's maybe give it another 30 seconds. But to the viewers that are on here today, we're going to be doing this weekly. So, as you guys are helping your kids go through the education, pathway and get them into college or help them get a career after college, we're going to be doing these weekly webinars just to answer questions, be there to help you guys, help your kids get to where they want to go, their dream job or their dream college.
Sounds good. Thank you, Gerard.
Of course. So
yeah, for chatting with me. It was
course.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I want to do every week. We could have something like this because, why are we rushing to hit these goals of ours when we can't reflect? And some of the stuff that you have gone through is valuable knowledge and lessons and advice that other people could hear. So a lot of parents could learn from your experiences more. I know that we've started the conversation with Mike, because I just gone through the college system, my own experiences. But you have a vast amount of experiences that some of these kids should hear.
Thank you. Thank you. I think for us, it's multi-generation. In Chinese, how to say cross-generation hosting, right? I love it. Yeah, this is great. So we bring in together, many years experience, right?
Exactly.
Yours very fresh, mine is kind of old, but it's all good, right?
But we have the same mindset of where we're going,
Exactly. I next time I want to talk about your working experience. We want to talk about how I met you. I think it's all good for the kids and parents, right?
Yes. So of course, those are all good. So let me go ahead and end this live stream, but let's stay on the Zoom call because I want to we'll restart the live stream and try to work out a different way to see if it works.
Okay. Thank you all for participating. Thank you.
Thank you guys.